In this lecture, we are going to learn about file operations in C. Why do we need to use files? When we use files, we can store data which can be re-accessed. That is, when you write data to a file, you can re-access that file later on. Writing data into files is a more efficient way of organizing your data. Another advantage of using files is that your files can be shared with other programs and other computers. For example, when you create a file in C, that file can be opened in any text editor. So that is how we can re-access the data and it can be shared with other programs and computers. These are main important advantages of using files. In C language, we can perform these all operations over the files. You can create a fresh new file. You can open an existing file. You can read an existing file. You can write contents to a file. You can seek a particular section in the file by traversing to it, and you can close a file which is already open. Now let us try to visualize the file system, assuming these squares are nothing but memory locations. So this could be a starting point of my file, and these are data written into those files. All files have a special pointer at the end, that is EOF, that is end of file. It is the special pointer using which we can identify that file has ended over here. To read a file, we create a file pointer which points to this location. Suppose I'm using a file pointer as file star FP, then suppose if it is pointing to this location, then using this pointer we can traverse across all other memory location of the file. We can read contents, we can write content using this file pointer and some readily available functions in C language. Now let us check what are different file modes which we can use to perform file operations in C language. So R is file mode for reading data from a file, W is writing to a file, and in this case contents are overwritten. So if your file that you have opened in write mode has some previous content, then that whole content will be erased and new content will be written over it. Then there is A mode, that is append mode. It adds content after the end of your file. So suppose your file was having data as ABC and you are going to write XYZ to it. So ABC will be written as it is and XYZ will be added to it. Then there are more few advanced file mode, that is R+. Using this mode, you can read existing content. You can write new content to the file and you can modify existing content as well. Similarly, we have W+. In this case, contents are overwritten like the case of W. In addition to it, you can write new content, you can read back new content that you have written, and you can modify existing content from the file. Then finally, there is another mode as A+, in which you can read existing content, you can append new content at end of the file, but in case of A+, you cannot modify existing content. So these are 6 different file modes which are available to us in C language. So you can use this mode depending on your coding requirements. Additional important points to remember are mode A, W+, and A+ creates a new file if specified file does not exist. So there won't be any prompt as such. Those files will be created by the compiler. In the next lectures, we are going to check few programs on file operations so you understand this concept better, and there are few readily available functions which we are going to use. So the functions and keywords that we are going to use are fopen. It's a function which opens a specified file in the specified mode. Fclose is a function which closes the specified file. GetC reads character from the current cursor location. When you open a file, cursor will be at the first location initially, at this location. When you use this function getC, so data from this location will be given to you and cursor will move on to the next location. Similarly, when you again use getC, then this data will be given to you and cursor will move on to the next location. Then we have putC as a function. So it will write an data to the current cursor position. Once the data is written, cursor will move on to the next location. FgetS reads line from the file. So your file usually have multiple lines into it. So it will read line by line. Similarly, putS is a function which writes line completely, unlike putC which writes character by character. Then we have a special keyword EOF which specifies end of the file. So when we are going to read these contents, if function returns me EOF, then we can assume that cursor has reached end of the file. In the next lecture, we will check few programs on file operations, so that will make your understanding more clear. In this lecture, we are going to write a program to read and write data to a file character by character. So in the program, I am going to use a file pointer which will be used to read and write contents to a file. Especially it will be used to open the file first. I am using a character array where user will be specifying the file name which he wishes to open, and here I'm asking user to enter the file name and it will be stored at address location of fname. Then I'm using function fopen, to which first parameter is fname, that is our file name, and the second parameter is file mode. Because we want to write content to a file, we are going to open that file into write mode. Function fopen returns either address location of this file or it will return me null if file does not exist. So in the next line we are checking whether f is equal to null. So as I told earlier, if file exists then fp will be pointing to that file, and if file does not exist then a new file will be created and fp will start pointing to that file. But if there are issues like no disk space or any other reason, then fopen will fail, and in that case fopen will return me a null pointer. So if this condition is true, then that will mean that file did not existed and also the compiler was not able to create a new file. So we can simply print file not created and we can exit the program. Now let's assume that file was created and then we start writing into the file. So we are just going to prompt user that enter text to write, and we are also going to tell him that press enter to save and quit. So after that I'm using a while loop where I'm writing ch is equal to get char not equal to /n. So this is a condition over here, but whatever user enters that will be first stored into ch, and the results of ch, if ch is not /n character, then user can keep on printing the character. On each successful true condition we are going to use put c, so we are going to enter character into same file pointer. As soon as user enters /n, so that will be received by get char and it will be stored into ch, and if user has entered which is the next line character that is /n, so this condition will be false and this while loop will be terminated. There are multiple ways of writing this. This is the most common method. You can also write this same block as while 1. So 1 is treated as a true, so it is technically an infinite loop. So inside this you can write your get ch and put ch, and you can also write your condition after get ch. So this is alternate way, but this is the most efficient way. So once we come out of this while loop, we are just going to print that data returned successfully to the file, and we are going to use fclose. We are going to close the file that we have opened. Now that we have written data successfully to a file, let us try to open the same file and try to read the content, and let us try to print it on the output screen. So again I'm using fp and I'm going to use fopen to open that file in read mode this time. If fp is equal to null, that means file did not existed, so we can print that cannot open the file and we can exit the program. But as we have created the file in the previous function itself, the file will be present as we are using the same file name. So in the next printf statement I am printing content of the file, and in the next line I am going to write while loop and I am going to again read character by character, but this time from the file. So in the previous function we were using get char to receive user's input from the keyboard, and here we are reading character from the specified file. So fp is our file pointer, so wherever the current cursor is present, from that cursor location a character will be read and it will be stored into ch. If the current character is not equal to end of file, that means we have not yet reached at the end of the file. So till the time we don't reach to EOF, we can keep on printing ch, which we have read using this function, and it will print it as a %c. So on your output screen, this while loop will print all the data from your file till we reach EOF, and once we reach EOF, this condition will become false and while loop will be completed, and after that we can close that file safely using fclose and will provide file pointer. So that is how we have used our readily available function fopen, fclose, getchar, getch to read and write contents to a file. I'm sure that you have understood this concept clearly, but before we move on to the next lecture, I strongly encourage you to write this program by yourself so you get to know that how files are operated using functions that are available in C language. So that will also make your understanding clearer for how we can access files and perform operations to the files. In this lecture, we are going to write a program to read and write data to a file, but line by line. So in order to write content line by line, we are going to use two functions as fputs and fgets. So in the program, I am going to use a file pointer. I am using a string of size 100, which will be used to get content from the user, and that content will be written to a file using this character array. After that, I am opening the file. I am specifying the full path of the file over here. Notice that instead of single slash, I am using double slash. So this is acting as a skm sequence over here. So this is nothing but c:/myfile.txt. So double slash will be converted into slash before opening that file, and I'm opening this file into write mode. So once this statement is executed, if fp is equal to null, then I'm going to put a string. So putS is a function that prints a screen on output device, that is on your console screen. So I am printing putS. An error occurred while opening the specified file. After this putS, we can call exit function so that program gets terminated over here. Alternatively, if this condition was not true, then our subsequent lines should get executed. So I'm asking user to enter a string, and I'm using getS function. So whatever string that user enters, that will be stored into str, which is the character array. And after that, I'm going to use fputS. I'm passing character array to it, and that character array will be stored into the file where fp is pointing. So user's entered string will be stored into this file. After the contents are written, I can use fclose to close that file. Now here we are just writing a single statement. You can use a while loop, and you can run that while loop until a specific point so that user can enter multiple number of lines, and which will be written into your file using putS function inside of your while loop. So once file write operation is completed, I am opening the same file into read mode, and we are again going to check if fp is equal to null. We'll print our error statement. We can have our exit function here as well, assuming that file was opened correctly. So I'm using while1 over here. So 1 is nothing but true, so this is while true. That is an infinite while loop. So inside of this while loop, I'm writing an if statement as fgetS str, 10, fp. So fp is nothing but your file pointer. 10 is the number of characters that we want to read from fp, and those characters will be stored in str. If fgetS could not read any character set, then it will return me null. So as soon as it returns me null, we can break this while loop. That means we have received some character using fgetS. So str will be holding those 10 characters. So we can immediately print that character array using printf%s and specifying the character array. Once this while loop gets completed, we can close that file, and that will end your program. In this lecture, we are going to merge contents of two files, and it will be stored into a third file. So it is a very simple program. We will require three file pointers, fp, fp1 and fp2. And in the f of 1, we will specify file names, and we are going to open first two files into read mode, and we are opening third file into write mode, where we are going to store merged content of first two files. I am also declaring a character variable which will be used to read both the files character by character. Before starting with the program, we're just going to ensure that all three files exist. So I am writing code as if fp1 is equal to null, or fp2 is equal to null, or fp3 is equal to null. So any of these three condition is true, so we can say that we could not open the files and we can exit there. Because for successful execution in this program, we will require all the three files. So I'm writing while loop for the first file. I'm writing while c is equal to fgetC to read a character from fp1, and we are going to perform this operation till we reach end of the file, and all the characters that we read one by one in this loop will be stored into fp3 using fputC function, to which I am going to supply character that we have read just here. So this while loop will read contents from f1 character by character, and it will start writing into fp3. Similarly, in the second loop, we are writing the same code, but here instead of fp1, I am specifying fp2. So all the characters from fp1 will be written into fp3. And once this while loop completes, we are just going to simply close all the three files.